Hello and welcome to another video tutorial. Today I will be showing you how to create a bishop using Blender. This is going to be fairly similar to the pawn. Only difference is we have a little notch in the top to model out. So let's go ahead, grab a reference image. I got one off of I got one off of Google, and it's a fairly good one. Oh, I want that one selected. There we go. Move this up. Actually, first I'm going to scale that down, probably about 2.5. There we go. And place kind of the bottom of the bishop on the axis. Now if we look here, I'm going to delete that. This bishop is not in line with our axes, so kind of move it over until it is. That's pretty good. Create a plane, go into top view, delete 3 of the vertices, delete them, move the remaining vertice back to the center, or back to the origin, and then just extrude along the outline. This reference image is not completely orthographic, so I'm just going to kind of make up for that and work with it. Okay, almost done. Make sure that top vertice comes back to 0, or to the center. There we go. And select everything, go into top view, spin, set it to 360 degrees, and 14 steps. 14 steps is arbitrary. I mean, you can go with higher, but it returns nice results. Select all of them, hit remove doubles. It will get rid of the seam here. There we go. So it's now one vertice, which is nice for when you're modeling, because having 2 vertices that look like one is a pain. Okay, so let's go ahead and create this notch there. So create a new cube. So tab out of edit mode, so in object mode, rotate the cube, and then hit S. Nope. There we go. Scale it locally. So to do that, you hit S, and then X again. So scale it along the X. And then I'm going to make it shorter. And that should work just fine. So now select the bishop again, go into modifiers, create a Boolean modifier, select the cube, and change it to difference. Nope. I don't want a union. That's not how I want it. I do have that selected, right? Let's try this again. Okay. Boolean. That's not working. Let's try it with the other one. Okay. Well, that's annoying. let me pause this and figure it out. It really should work where you have this selected, hit Boolean, and then I believe difference, and that should work, but for some reason it doesn't seem to be working. It actually worked for the last 3 tries that I've done this tutorial. Let me pause that. Okay, so for some reason it seems to want to use union. If we go and apply that and hide that, we can see we have created a notch in that bishop. Let's see, so unhide it, and we don't need it anymore, so just delete it. Set the thing to, or set the bishop to smooth. Give it a let's see, I believe an edge split. Yeah. And if you don't like that, give it a subsurf, move it up, and it'll really screw things up for a little bit. And if you go into edit mode and actually look at it, you'll see why there are a bunch of triangles where there don't need to be. So let's go ahead and clean this up a bit and make it look better. So just go ahead, hide everything that we do not need. It'll make things go faster and be a lot easier to work with. That's ugly right there. I deleted the vertices. I want faces. There we go. And then I'm going to unhide, because we want to do the exact same thing to the other side. So go ahead, select, nope. And actually that one looks fairly okay. And delete those faces as well. Okay, so we're going to start on the bigger inside area. So I'm going to hide these ones again. And let's go ahead and fix this up. So, easiest way to do this, create a loop cut down the middle of this center section, and go into side view, front view, sorry, and just create a vertice everywhere all the way up until you reach the top area, and then you can just hit F to fill that in. And now just work your way down, creating polygons everywhere. It's a fairly fast process, kind of tedious though. Okay, that side looks better now. Let's go ahead and fix up the other side. So go into wireframe mode, hit C, hide everything. Bam. Okay, and it's pretty much the same process. Okay. And now those look terrible still, but they're a lot cleaner. So what we're going to do, unhide it, or unhide the rest, and create loop cut. And now if we look at it, it's a very sharp edge there, or a fairly sharp edge anyway. And just fill in the last little bit there, and it looks pretty good. Okay, so now we can go ahead and clean up any other edges that need cleaning. So down here, there we go. Now most of this is kind of arbitrary. It doesn't matter if it's perfect, because obviously we aren't following the reference exactly. It's kind of personalized. It's an art, and yeah. The goal is to just make it look good, not necessarily to just follow the reference. Okay, that looks pretty good. I think I want one right there. Nope, come on. Okay. So that looks good. I think we are ready to move into materials, so let's save that before it crashes. But yeah. So I don't think I like... I'll leave it. Okay. So let's first set up the camera. There we go. And then we hit G, Z, Z, and it's kind of like zooming. I'm going to move the cursor back to the center. Oh. Let's try that again. To center, create a plane, scale that up, move it along the X, move it along the Y, kind of fill in the camera area. Okay. Too far. Okay, so now I'm going to actually switch this over to cycles now and set that to rendered view. In the world settings, let's change this down to black. And I'm going to delete the lamp. It gets very dark. In top view, I'm going to create a new plane. Move that up. This will be one of our lamps. Create another one. I'm going to put it over here. It's going to be another lamp. Different brightness, so lamp and lamp 2. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, so both are going to be set for emission. I'm going to set this one up for being about, let's try 2. And this one I'm going to do down to 0.8. Now, depending on how you want this scene to look, I mean, we can make these kind of cold, or we could actually do that over in the compositor, or we could make this really warm. I'm going to leave it kind of a warmer white, I guess. If you don't like this pop-up thing, you can just do RGB, and you got all this to work with. or you can also pop open another one, which seems kind of weird, but there we go. And I'm going to make this one kind of a cooler shade. Let's zoom in. Gonna give the floor kind of a, I guess, a shiny chessboard color. Chessboard. It's going to actually have a mix node and a diffuse node, I think. Yeah. And a glossy. In the diffuse, instead of color, it's going to be an image texture. We're going to open that. There we go. And it should show up, or not. Yeah, if you're curious about this, you can go and look in at the other tutorial. I'm not going to waste my time with it if it's going to be stupid like this. Okay, let's just make it sort of glossy, I guess. Actually, let's just work on the piece itself. So it doesn't really matter what color we make this, I'll just make it kind of white. And if we look at a white chess piece, we will notice, well, none of these have really good images. There we go. They're kind of yellowy. It's kind of a yellow-green color. So I'll minimize that. Let's go ahead, and it's also sort of reflective. So glossy. Oh, that's more like stainless steel. Mix. Then diffuse, and then glossy. There we go. So let's kind of tint it over here. There's way too much glossy in that. Let's actually, I'm gonna put it all the way over, just for right now. That's too much yellow, too much color. That's pretty good. And then let's increase the gloss a little bit. Still too much. So just play around with those values until you get what you like. I'm going to turn up the integrator a little bit. Where is that? There we go. Let's set it to 300 and 300, and it'll go to town. Actually, for this one, I forgot. I'm gonna pause it, and then we can go over to the nodes and start working on those. So I'm gonna run that, and I'll be back when it's done. Okay, so that is actually a fairly good looking render. We could just leave it, or we could use nodes. Render layers, and finally viewer and composite. There we go. So if we want to give the whole thing a kind of a warm feel, we can just go colors, color balance, and warm. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I like that. That looks pretty good. Okay, so I wasn't expecting it to be that fast. Now we can create that vignette, which creates kind of a dark area around the center. You'll see what I mean when we're done. So go in, distort, lens distortion, connect it to image, and let's create another one of these. And what this lens distortion does, I'm not really sure what you'd use it for other than for the effect that I'll be showing you, but it creates kind of a fisheye. So exactly what you see, it turns the image into a circle. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into converter, math, set it to greater than, plug the top one into image, and set the bottom one to 1. Now if we look at the output value, hello, maybe 0, there we go, 0. So set the bottom one to 0, not 1. Get a blur filter out here, set it to 100 should be good. Change it from size to image, that's too much, sorry. Okay, and then if we do the color mix, connect it there, and connect it to the output of our color balance here, and if we do a multiply, we get a nice vignette. So you kind of see how it puts a dark ring around there. So save it, and there we go. So there is a bishop. Thanks for watching. This concludes this tutorial. Yeah.